2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn, and this is the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., in this case 9/12, because we had a little party before, a draft party, we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. I do it each and every week with my homeboy, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, what's up, brother? It's another Tuesday night. There's nothing I love more than talking some Carolina Panthers on a Tuesday night with the most lit Panther chat room on YouTube. Ken D, Tim Tizzy, Jeremy Clancy, Underground West. We got the whole crew, Jeff Hodge. We got some special guests that we're trying to have on tonight if the technology gods allows it to happen. And Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in our guests. Let's give it a shot. We'll see if it works. Bob Roscoe. You know him better as Tacos and Slurpees on Twitter, and he is the host of the Not What You Think podcast, part of the Roaring Riot Network. We'll see if it connects. It says connecting. He can hear us, he can see us, but he can't speak to us at this point. He's not there yet. We're trying to make this happen. If it doesn't work on this time, we're sorry, Bob. We will hopefully get you there. It's not working, Cody.
No, it is not working. He wants to know if he can call in, but the cat calls line doesn't quite work that way.
No. All right. Well, we'll work this out in the future. Tacos and Slurpees, I apologize for having this as a problem. You can use the mobile app on your phone. That would work too.
Yeah, if you wanted to try one more time on your phone, I could bring you in that way too. But if it's tonight or next Tuesday,
yeah, let's do it next week at this point, because I know he's probably frustrated. But if he wants to, I don't have any problem him coming on back. Now, Cody, tonight's show is episode 19.29. Tonight's show title is, what is tonight's show title? It's a good one. It's something like
QB2 Smells Like QB Poo.
Yeah, QB2 Smells Like QB Poo is our show title for tonight's show. And after the Panthers' second preseason game, I got to tell you this, Cody. I thought that we were going to be looking a lot better from all the reports we were hearing from camp. It was a stinker. The stinker started at you got the rot starts at the head. The fish stinks at the head, I guess, something like that. And boy, the quarterbacks were stinky. They were stinky 80s.
Yeah, they did not smell very good. Shout out to our longtime supporter, and main man in the chat room, Underground West, for dropping the $5 love bomb. Thank you so much, sir. Your support is appreciated. We love you all.
Oh, dang. Way to go, fam. Way to keep with it. Thank you, Underground West, for joining the show. You can tell we've had a lot going on in the background. We're in Congress today instead of in our typical from Bank of America. Didn't have the right files at this point to get this loaded in the Fantasy Football League, organizing all that with my kids here. No mama in the house. It's been a juggling act, to say the least. But all right, so tonight's show is the 29th episode since the Super Bowl. We are going to be talking, like I said, about the preseason game, kind of looking ahead towards New England, talking about some different things going on with the team and the organization, how we feel about the team at this point. So we're going to get right into that. But before we do that, just go ahead and smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, tell a person about the show, tell one friend about the show, share the link to something, whether it be the iTunes link, the YouTube link, something to that effect. That's how we grow, one listener, one fan at a time, creating a great community here. And it starts right there in the YouTube chat. It's fantastic. Donations already coming in. The chat is lit. And the cat calls line, guys, is going to be fun tonight. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. You can call in and leave a message. Look, just like Josh bouncing in there. Josh from Mass coming in strong with $10. Thank you very much. Guys, you are so generous. It's going to keep this show going. It's going to keep growing this community. We thank you. All right, Cody, let's go ahead. Oh, I didn't even get to do it. Is that you guys have to see the Keep Pounding t-shirt. Remind me, I've got to do that at some point. We've got to show the Keep Pounding shirt. We'll do that a little bit, but we want to talk football at this point. Cody, preseason game. What the hell was the score? The score at the end of the day was what?
I believe it was something like 20. Yeah, something like 26 or 24 to 14. I don't know. It was all kind of a blur. It was not our best
27-14. It looks like it was 27-14. What are your initial thoughts after we watched this game?
So, listen, my initial thoughts are kind of there are two main points, and I know we're going to delve deeper into both of those a little bit. But, man, it's the title of our show, man. Quarterback 2 smells like quarterback poo. And, we have no depth behind Cam Newton. And I think one of the things that has always remained true for us is this season is going to go the way Cam Newton does. I liked Will Grier in college, but he hasn't been very impressive in the preseason. Granted, a lot of players aren't impressive in the preseason, but then go on to ball out. These things take time, but right now I definitely don't trust Kyle Allen, and I do not trust the quarterback that Will Grier is at the moment to be able to come in and help this football team should Cam Newton go down. I also think that we have a problem at the linebacker position, and shout out to you, Tony Dunn, because you did say this earlier, that the linebacker position, the inside linebacker position behind Luke and Shaq, we don't have anybody there, man. We're parading Uncle Bernie out there on stilts. It's not a good look.
All right, I think the initial thoughts after this preseason game, like I said, are I expected Carolina to be a little sharper, even without Cam out there. Is that you have these three quarterbacks: Kyle Allen, Will Grier, who is a higher end draft pick, third round. That's a big deal for the Panthers ultimately. And then you had Taylor Heineke, who I have always thought from the beginning was better than Kyle Allen. He looked better last year. They were always supposedly neck and neck, but Taylor Heineke knew North stuff more. I think he's just a little shorter is the problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I guess, but he's always, to me, been the favorite at that. So I've always been surprised that when Kyle Allen is picking out at the number one depth chart. So we knew that they were only going to be so good. For all those Cam haters out there, they want to believe that Cam is average or just above average. But you don't remember what it's not like not being Cam, because you've got to It's like kind of like if you dated a supermodel all your life or just hot chicks all your life.
Yeah.
You forget, you get spoiled. Spoiled is what I'm saying.
Tell me about it, man. I know. I really do know.
Yeah, I know. You've been there. I've been there too. Is that my wife is beautiful. So here, though, I think we knew that this was going to be part of the equation. I don't think we suspected here, though, that the drop off from the 1s to the 2s across the board at every position is so stark. And I think you see it I think the first instance is quarterback, but I'm with you. Linebackers. This is a real issue because I know everyone focuses on the QBs, but I'm looking at those linebackers and I'm saying this, Cody, if we lose Luke or Shaq, hell, and that's banking on that Shaq is going to be as good as we think he is. Right? If we lose anyone there, the drop-off is distinct. It is, I mean, it's so noticeable. And you have heard Gerald McCoy and other guys talk about this system that they want to let the pass rush funnel through those 4 pass rushers on the front line through that 3-4 system with the outside linebacker. And they really want Shaq and Kuechly running around, playing instinctual football, reactive football, playing fast. And you can see that these guys behind them are having trouble doing that.
Yeah, and so just so we're clear, and everyone knows this, I mean, Luke Kuechly is the best linebacker in football. I mean, so anyone other than him, it's going to be a drop-off.
Another supermodel. You dated a supermodel all your life.
Yeah, and then Shaq Thompson. I mean, listen, we've talked about this before. We have to decide what we're going to do with Shaq this year. Either we're going to pay him or we're going to draft his replacement or potentially even both. And you really don't know at this point in the game what it's going to be. It's down to what kind of season Shaq Thompson has. But, yeah, I mean, watching this preseason game, whenever the offense wanted to move the ball, they would throw passes to the middle of the football field just because our linebackers couldn't cover and they couldn't man that position of the field. I actually do think that our defensive line remained pretty fast. You obviously didn't notice it as much in this preseason game as we did versus the Bears, but I'm not really concerned about any other area of our defense more than I am the linebacker position. I mean, there really isn't anyone there. The guys that we drafted behind Luke and Shaq, and I forget their names all the time, Jermaine Carter and I believe Andre Smith, and they're they just haven't stepped up. They haven't really proven themselves or shown themselves to be someone that is a reasonable backup. Jared Norris is another name that's been on our team for a long time. And right now it's just a bunch of who's them or what's, not a lot of real talent.
All right, a lot of good comments in the chat. We're about to get to my point on those linebackers to continue there. And I think Greg in there, the Bat Daddy, he said, if you don't have Shaq and Kuechly on the squad, of course there's going to be a big drop off. Like, that's a big deal. Now I know that's a given for Kuechly. It is sort of it's a little I don't know if you can actually say that about Shaq yet. And what I mean by that is that position, I mean, he has been good. He's been better than good. We don't really know a lot. But I agree. Those are our 2 starters. There should be a drop off. But you are also trying to prepare for life without one of them one day. Contractually, you're going to have to re-sign somebody soon. Kuechly's contract is going to be next up on the board if it's not Cam's, and as well as Shaq is in his 5th-year option. So either you're going to re-sign him or you're going to part ways. I'm starting to believe that our position, it might be, unless he's really very friendly in the contractual negotiations, which I don't know how much leverage he exactly has. I wonder if he'll be team friendly or not. I don't ever think a player should be team friendly when it comes to money, but Jermaine Carter Jr. So you already know that that's coming up. So you kind of want to have a little horses in the stable, and maybe we're trying to do that with Andre Smith and the Jermaine Carter Jr. But Jermaine Carter Jr., either after watching that first series, either does not have very much lateral quickness, Cody, or he doesn't have enough experience in the game, so he can't play sure.
Yeah.
Right?
And
I do think that's a legitimate thing, is that, you mentally have to be there, even if you got the physical chops. And if you don't have the physical chops, you definitely need to be game speed up. And I'm not saying he's not smart enough. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you're just not ready that early to be reactive.
Yeah, you have to be able to command the defense and do what Luke does and call out the formations and where the play is going at the line of scrimmage. Just because we're moving to a 3-4, more of a 3-4, doesn't mean that our linebackers don't have to do that. I also do want to at least bring this up because it kind of gets glossed over. It really wasn't fair that Shaq Thompson was drafted to be Thomas Davis's replacement, and then he doesn't leave until Shaq Thompson's final year with the Panthers before he has to get another contract. Like that's never been his fault. But at the same time, it is what it is. And now he's in the situation where he has essentially 1 year to prove that he's worth the kind of money that he's going to ask for. My question to you, Tony, is like, what happens? And I know you and I don't think this is going to happen, but like, what if Shaq leads the team in tackles this year?
Ooh, I would be happy, man. That's the first thing I'd like to say is I would be super happy because I've had this Shaq Thompson jersey sitting since day one. Yeah. I've been wearing it, and I want to believe all of it. He looks like sometimes he looks like he's going to be the second coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No
sometimes he just is unnoticeable, and I don't know if it's fair. I don't know if fairness is part of the equation either. I understand that he didn't have the opportunities that number ones have had right throughout. I think he's been a great team guy in this process. I think that he has been very. I do think he's amped up his team guyness as he's gotten a little older and more comfortable. But I do think he knows that playing to the fan base in Carolina gets you extra bucks.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And listen, man, pressure makes a diamond. I mean, you're in the situation where now you can play for the type of contract that you want. He already saw that Darrell Williams on offense, his market wasn't what he thought it was going to be. So he ends up coming back for another 1 year deal. Maybe Shaq does the same thing, but it's definitely possible that we could re-sign him and potentially draft another linebacker next year or something like that.
All right, I think this is the way. I don't know what I want to happen if he leads the team in tackles, but I think the Panthers do have a choice, and that is they either have a choice of paying him in a moment where they think they can sneak a contract in between Kuechly and Cam. You probably don't have a lot of defensive players coming up for money in the future. KK probably has another year or two. Poe is going to be coming off the books. I heard people talking junk about Poe, say he does not get any push in watching that game. I think it was Pat Coltrane I saw say that. I don't know if there's any big payers. Look, Mario Addison's going to go. So I think the real money on the defense is really going to only have to be allocated to Luke Kuechly at this point. So if you feel like you can financially balance it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But if they choose not to, I think they're forcing themselves to really invest some high draft capital next year in a linebacker, like potential first round pick again, because Kuechly will be getting older. You mean at some point,
and his contract is coming up the year right after Cam, so
he will be a Panther forever. They will pay. Luke Kuechly will be paid whatever it takes to stay a Panther. I don't think Tepper is dumb enough to let something like that walk out the door.
I mean, unless injuries play the factor, then Luke is gonna be a Carolina Panther from now until forever. But it's definitely a position that needs addressing, and frankly, it's thank God Luke didn't have a concussion last year, and everyone has been calling him concussion prone, but he didn't have one last year, and if he's able to continue and have a healthy year, then awesome. But man, as soon as he goes down, there's just not a lot behind him. And in the past, whenever Luke has gone down, teams always exploit the middle of the field. Didn't matter if it was AJ Klein, Jared Norris, David Mayo, whoever. They're not Luke, and they're not going to be.
All right, so I saw someone, maybe it was Jake Delhomme who said this earlier. Someone said that the offensive line did not look great in this game. Greg Little, they were saying was struggling there. And I feel like, you remember Ron Rivera got mad about the hands to the face Quentin. No, it wasn't Quentin Williams. Who was it? The number 1 draft pick. He came from Clemson, I think, who is on Buffalo now.
Oh, no. You mean Ed Oliver from Houston.
Ed Oliver. Yeah, Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, yeah.
Hands to the face on the center, right? And Rivera was upset about that. But again, I don't know how impressed is that these guys, Van Roten and Tyler Larson, truly are. Oh, and I saw, who was it? Tim Tizzy said we signed a linebacker.
Yeah.
After, so where are you at on the offensive line? And then we'll dovetail that into the running backs.
So listen, man, I mean, on the offensive line, and I've said this since before the preseason. I've said this since after the draft. The right side of the line from the center to the right, I am more than good with, man. Moton, Trey Turner, and Matt Paradis. I mean, that's fantastic. The issue that I still have now, as of this moment, is left guard and left tackle. Greg Little has kind of shown, at least right now, that he's not quite there yet. He's not ready yet. Now, it doesn't mean that he doesn't pick this up quick and start to come on, but as of right now, Darrell Williams is our left tackle, and I don't think they want to play Greg Little at guard. So that means Greg Van Roten is our left guard, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about that. There have been times when Greg Van Roten is a beast and is dominating people at the line of scrimmage and doing his job. And then there are other times when he's been a liability and he's been pushed back fairly easily, especially at the end of that at the end of last year. And I think, did he play for us in 2017?
Who's that? Sorry.
Van Roten.
Yeah, I think, man, I feel like he's been on this team for a minute.
Yeah, so it's like
he might have been practice squad that year. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not comfortable with the left side of that line right now. I also want to make clear I'm not writing off Greg Little. I think Greg Little just needs more time to learn how to play the position, but he definitely needs more help on the down blocks. It
is important to note Buffalo has really invested a ton on their defensive line too, and their defense over the past year.
They absolutely have done just that. And listen, it's hard to play left tackle in the NFL, let alone be a rookie and be competent at what you do. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. He needs more time, and he's just not ready yet. And I don't know how good I feel about Darrell Williams playing left tackle.
All right, yeah, and I don't know, I don't feel terrible at the moment either. I don't know what to judge of Darrell Williams yet, and I don't know if we've seen very much. I need to go and count the snaps. I got to look at Darrell Williams more closely to draw a judgment. I just don't really know. I think they've been putting Greg Little in a ton. And now there is some things concerning about that to me, and that is that Darrell Williams doesn't have a ton of experience or has any experience at left tackle. So I wonder what the reps he got in that game were. But you're right. It looks like he's the clear leader. I'm not panicking about the guards, the left guard. I'm not going to panic about it, but the drop off there from there definitely that could be a weakness on the spot, as well as the drop off from starters to backups is noticeable. Now, going to the running game, Cody, we have not seen any Christian McCaffrey, I think, in the preseason, nor do I care to. The names on this list is that first you wrote here, Elijah Holyfield, Jordan Scarlett, and Reggie Bonifant.
Yeah.
Where is Cameron Artis-Payne up here? The most impressive preseason man ever existed.
That's what we need to talk about, man. There's a lot of people having discussion about the running back depth on our team right now and who's going to make the team and how many running backs do you roll with. But before we do that, we're actually going to bring in our buddy, if this works, pray to the technology gods, the Bat Daddy, as he's known on YouTube and on Twitter. We're gonna see if we can get this to work, and hopefully this does work. But I do want to remind you guys, this is a podcast for the fans, by the fans. You can join us anytime you want to on Shindig, and hopefully if it works for us, you'll be able to join us and come chill.
Yeah, I don't know why we're having so many problems. We didn't have any problems getting in tonight, and they're in there. And then on top of that as well, just make sure this, if you're using a browser, you got to use your Chrome browser. You got to make sure you're, and that's it. And connecting, the death connection tonight.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something in the portal. I don't know.
Okay. So going back.
Come out and come back in. And then if that don't work, we'll have to do it at a different time, man.
You just have to look at our beautiful faces now. And Cody told me he was going to do this with no pants on this show, like they do. And what
you can't prove that I'm wearing pants right now. I'm just saying, dog. Don't make me back up.
So where are you? Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
running
backs. You want me to start, or you want to?
Tell me what the conversation is right now about running backs.
So listen, man. I think Jordan Scarlett is a special runner. I mean, we
saw him for the first time, right?
Yeah, we saw him for the first time, and I see the same kind of thing from him that I saw in his college film. And man, he just has that wiggle and that vision. He's a tough runner. He doesn't go down. And I noticed it's not really that he's bigger or stronger than, say, someone like Elijah Holyfield, but it's a balance issue for them. He has an incredible sense of balance, and when you hit him, he just doesn't go down, man. Jordan Scarlett has that Alvin Kamara kind of shiftiness to him. I don't know how else to put it, or what better words to use. So, I mean, I imagine a scenario with him behind Christian McCaffrey, and man, that could be a powerful, dynamic 1-2 punch that we haven't had since the likes of Jonathan Stewart and he who shall not be named anymore. So, and then a lot of people were very high on Reggie Bonifant. There was a lot of good stuff from him as well. I don't know, man. I just think Jordan Scarlett.
So what has this got to do with my man Cap? Tell me that first.
Nothing, man, because you and I both know his ass ain't going to play a lot this year. I mean, I don't know. If you're the Panthers front office, if you're Marty Herney, are you going to take a more expensive, more worn out, or more, the treads have been worn down on that player more than any other running back on your roster. He's more expensive. You have cheaper options already on the roster that have been generating a lot of excitement. So I don't know. Do you really think that he makes the cut?
Which one again? Sorry, my wife walked in.
Cameron Artis-Payne. Do you actually?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, is that all right? So I was thinking about this, and there was a big discussion after this in the first game as well. And as soon as the second game started up, Cameron Artis-Payne again comes to the focus, and maybe it's just like Twitter knows that I'm interested in Cameron Artis-Payne. So anytime his name, like the 4 people in the universe talking about him, Twitter recommends it.
Tim Tizzy and Josh from Ash say send Cap to Buffalo. So
that is a reasonable plan at this point. Now, thank you.
What up?
Hey, Miranda says
you're only a beer bitch.
Oh, yeah. She's fired up. She must have had a good meeting. Okay.
She said it, not you.
I think Cameron Artis-Payne makes this team no matter what. All right. And the reason I believe that is we have seen that this team, that they're all in on Christian McCaffrey all the time. And that if there is going to be any backup usage, they better know how to pass protect. Now, that's not Cam's greatest strength, Cap's greatest strength, but I don't know if they would entrust so much to a rookie that quickly. They have definitely shown reservations of that in the past. So I think he makes it. Maybe I'm biased. Now, moving on to the other three, comments on Holyfield versus Scarlett versus Bonifant. All I could tell you is this, is I don't think we need a thumper like Holyfield necessarily. Like, I think we could get by with Cam being enough, with a potentially Cap running between the tackles on a goal line, or you bring in Alex Arma on a goal line. So I don't think having a goal line back is a requirement. But I think that's where his benefit is. Jordan Scarlett looks the most like a running back to me. Like a traditional running back. And not a traditional running back, but a guy that his body type looks like a running back. Like you said, the vision, the cuts, the fluidity in that way. Now, Bonifant, I like because I've always kind of enjoyed he reminds me of a Matt Forte runner. A little more up tall runner, smooth, like and so that's what I would just say. He's a little stand-up runner. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Jeremy Hill from the Cincinnati Bengals before.
Joshua Matt says Cap's greatest strength is getting 3 touches a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is his greatest strength.
Look, my beer exploded. She shook it up on top of that. Way to go, Miranda. She's mad.
But Ten Tizzy says that's a good wife that brings beer.
She is. She's great. She's good looking too. So I don't know. I think I tricked her early.
Yeah. Okay.
Tricked her when she was young and she didn't know that she was beautiful yet.
Okay. Teach me your tricks.
Okay. The other thing is, so I think the way to answer this question is, which one of these guys do you put on the practice squad and they get poached no matter what?
Probably Holyfield. I mean, listen, man. Everyone
really? You think if you put Scarlett and Holyfield on that?
Oh, you mean no? I thought you meant like if you had to put one of them on our practice squad, and which one would then get poached? No, yeah, I know. Listen, Scarlett was drafted for a reason over Holyfield. I mean, Holyfield. I loved his tape from Georgia. I think that he's a lot more agile than he gets credit for. I don't know, man. Jordan Scarlett, he ran like a 4.47. He's shifty, good vision. Yeah, Jordan.
4.7?
Yeah, he ran. Dude, that's fast. What are you talking about?
4.7 is not fast.
No, 4.47.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought that's what Holyfield ran.
No, Holyfield ran a 4.8. So, yeah, that's actually... Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it, but he's not a fast guy. You're not going to play him as that guy. And someone brought up a good point. And we still have Alex Arma on the roster, even though we're mainly going to play him as a fullback position. But, yeah, man, I don't know. There isn't enough room for everyone, and I would personally love Jordan Scarlett to be the number 2 behind McCaffrey.
We draft him in like the 4th
round.
You can put a 4th rounder on the practice squad. No, he's going to make the team.
And he has more talent than Cameron Artis-Payne. I mean, he just does. He just does.
It would be a bold move to go into the season with Christian McCaffrey, who is going to be used so much. He really is one moment away from an injury. Just because, and when I say that is, look, it's not that I think he's obviously not injury prone. He's very durable at this point. There shouldn't be concerns with that. But when the volume of plays just makes it so that there's more opportunity. And in that case, you have to be prepared. And I think it's kind of like the issue of what's going to be the bigger drop off between 1 and 2. Maybe we do. Maybe we just get bold and we need somebody on the defense. And we say Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Scarlett, and if it doesn't work and somebody did get hurt, we needed somebody more, experienced, then we go pick somebody up.
I mean, who
is a free agent that doesn't have a job that you could bring back C.J. Anderson essentially? Not him.
How many running backs do you think we're going to roll with? 3? 2?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I think you're going to have. I think the most you're going to have is the very maximum would be McCaffrey, Cameron Artis-Payne, one of the three, and Arma. So, yeah.
That's what Lynn said on YouTube. So CMC, Scarlett, and Cap. And yeah, I think right now that seems probably like the most and you can justify it by having Alex Arma at a different position at fullback. So then that's basically like another one. And you put Holyfield on the practice squad and let him.
Yeah, I think that's likely what's going to happen. I think the biggest surprise would be Cap getting cut and then you only keeping Arma, Scarlett, and McCaffrey. I think that would be a bold move. Now, let's go back this because our conversation is truly circled on one central component at this point, and it comes back to this offense. We've kind of been peeking at the offensive line, the running backs, going back to those quarterbacks. The question right now, Cody, and I know that what your answer to this is, but Will Grier, third-round pick for the Carolina Panthers. First, I think this tells us that how much of a project a third-round quarterback is in the NFL. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've drafted a quarterback in the third round or fourth round every year for like the last 3 years, and none of them are doing anything in the league at this point. Are you ready to criticize? I think after this game, I'm ready to more lean towards your position about Will Grier in the draft. Why?
Yeah, that we should have taken another position.
That we took him too high, and that we should have taken another position there. And now, do you have any concerns about Will Grier? Period. Where he is.
I try and be rational. He's played 2 preseason football games.
He's looked bad. He's a pick 6 on his second play.
Listen, John Elway, Peyton Manning, we're talking about guys that are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and their first year in the NFL, they were terrible. I mean, Jared Goff was terrible, and then he was in the MVP race, throwing a bunch of touchdowns in New England. I don't want to sell the boat on him, but it kind of is what I thought he is. You're going to draft a quarterback that isn't ready to play meaningful snaps in the NFL. You already have a quarterback on the team, Kyle Allen, who, even though he didn't play well, he had a year of experience under his belt. He already has a lot of talent. And Taylor Heineke looked better than the 2 guys in front of him. So Allen and Heineke, I don't know why it was so necessary to grab yet another quarterback that really isn't going to help us if Cam Newton goes down this season. And the song remains the same. If Cam Newton is not healthy to play football, then our season's done, man. It's over. So, I mean, that's about as far as it goes. Do I think that he is I don't have concerns about him because, like I said, it's too early. But I'm not happy with it as of right now. It could have been another starter on offense or defense.
All right. Let me make sure where we're at here. Do you think is he the worst move that Hurney's done?
The worst move
so far. Is this the worst of Hurney?
I mean, I don't know. It's not but like I said this during the as soon as we previewed talking about Will Grier, man. This doesn't seem like a David Tepper pick or like a Mario Hurney pick. It's a David Tepper pick. David Tepper wants to know that if Cam Newton isn't able to go, that there's another reliable backup quarterback to be able to take his place. The problem is it's so hard to depend on a rookie quarterback to be able to come in and lead your team to the promised land. I mean, it's not like we have another Nick Foles or whatever. He's not that kind of player now.
Not yet. Not yet. Might be one day. Might be better. I think you're right. Look, the YouTube chat might as well just run the show. First of all, Lynn said, don't. Yeah, you're right. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. She agrees he's a giant project. too early to tell. I think other people are saying it was Jeff Hodge said Marty's only offseason gaffe was drafting Greer. And if anything, I'm kind of with that is like, this is probably the questionable, like he's been perfect almost as a GM to this point, at least in the way that fans have seen it, what we think is good for that type of thing. So we do understand, like, it's not even a worse pick. Now, I think that Greer may have gone a little too high, might be problematic, but not really overly concerned with it as of yet. But for people also that think that he was going to be a guy that could come in and help we're not there yet. So Cody, 2 weeks ago, I said, I wish that we didn't have to keep a Kyle Allen or a Heineke. I may have even said it last week that it's Cam Newton, as like Tim Tizzy has pointed out in the chat. It's always been Cam Newton or bust, as Lynn supported. If Cam goes down, Ron Rivera goes down this season.
And he should. Everyone's ass should be on the line this season. You and I have talked about how good the defense is, how improved the offense is. Everyone's ass should be on the line this season. Hurney, Rivera, I mean, everyone. We have too many talented players on this team to have another year of mediocrity, in my own humble opinion. And I was already calling for Ron Rivera's head. Like I said, I'm still going to give him another chance and to prove that he's the coach for the football team going into the future. But now it's his year to prove it. You have no job security after this year, in my opinion, if you fail to make the playoffs. I think most people would agree. But yeah, man, that's it. I don't know. I'm not happy with the whole backup quarterback situation, but
now the question goes, should you worry? I mean, not worry, but here, what team has a great backup quarterback?
Right? The Saints. Sadly enough, I think the Saints have two good ones.
What, Bridgewater?
Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill. Oh, fast-ass white boy.
He's not good.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. That Mormon boy, put a white shirt on him and send him on a mission trip.
I tell you what, though, man, he's fast as hell. I'll never take that away from him. Homeboy.
Let me tell you this: if the starting quarterback for the Colts went down, who was he is down. His name is Andrew Luck.
True that.
All right, so I want to ask you this, and I guess my point that I thought about, or what I've been considering, is in what team in the league really has a backup that if their QB goes down, that they can be competitive, right? And now if you have a crazy defense, I understand that. But for instance, Jacoby Brissett is the Colts backup. He's listed as a tier 1 backup starter. All right. Now the Colts don't have a defense enough, and Brissett isn't good enough, where if Luck isn't playing, they are not playoff bound. They're not really. We don't have any faith in it. Chargers, if Phillip Rivers goes down, I think Tyrod Taylor, and he's one of those guys, and I kept saying would be interesting for Carolina. Tyrod Taylor, how do you think that? Can Tyrod Taylor take the Carolina Panthers if Cam Newton was able to go down and win 3 or 4 games, or win out the final 8 and even get you into the playoffs?
Fuck no, man. Pardon my French, but that's what it is. No, do you?
All right.
Do you honestly think Tyrod Taylor would make this offense run?
I think he would be the only one on this list so far that would have a chance. I don't think he's way back. He would be. So if you don't think he could, then we're really not in that bad of a space. All right, Teddy Bridgewater, you think yes?
I like Bridgewater better than I do Tyrod Taylor, and he has the connection with North Turner already, because they were together in Minnesota.
Mullins, 49ers. I don't even know who that is. So that's a no.
He's okay. He's not bad, but whatever.
All right, here's another no for me. Ryan Tannehill, Titans. These are the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
But okay, see, in my mind, Ryan Tannehill was always a backup level quarterback. So in my mind, like, yeah, Tannehill could probably win you a game.
He's awful, though. He sucks. He can't throw the ball forward.
Yeah, but a lot of people would say that about Derek Anderson, too. And
he was sucked too. He sucked too, and everybody always acted like he was great. You know why? Because you didn't have to watch him play, and that he was a guy that here's the thing: is he just was a starter in the past. He may have been the first 2 years with Carolina, only the first 2 years, legitimately a guy who you could say could maybe start on another team, but people kept that rolling way too long in Carolina.
Yeah,
I always like the other dude better. Who was it? Joe Webb.
Oh yeah, Joe Webb. And by the way, Joe Webb is still balling out with the Houston Texans. Listen, man, I wanted Joe. I wish we would have never gotten rid of Joe Webb, because I think that Joe Webb had the arm talent and the mobility to play the position in the way that we kind of do.
That's Tyrod Taylor, baby.
Okay, but I mean, hey, listen, if you have Tyrod Taylor. I want Tyrod Taylor as the backup more than I do
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen and Will Grier, yeah. But we're talking about who would do the Nick Foles thing. Come in.
All right, let's keep going.
To win the Super Bowl,
I'm trying to work towards. Jake Delhomme knows what I'm trying to work towards. You've mentioned it in the show notes. Case Keenum. There you go. That's a good backup, but Washington only paid him like $8 million. Or you know what I'm saying? They had to buy. Actually, I think Detroit paid to tell him to leave. Next, Broncos, Drew Lock. Wasn't he like a number 1 draft pick?
No, he was a second round draft pick. A lot of people had him in the first round. But yeah, that's another player that you need to develop. That guy has all the tools to be a franchise quarterback. Huge arm. I mean, the dude has all the stuff. He just needs time running an NFL offense. But it'd be the same thing as having Kyle Allen or Will Grier.
Dolphins, Bat Daddy says we'll either have a starter or Josh Rosen. Oh, wait, no, Fitzgerald.
He said the Dolphins will either have Fitz or Rosen as starter and backup. Decent depth there. Yeah, there aren't too many teams in the NFL.
I want to run down all of them real quick because I don't think there are any. How about this? Brett Hundley, Cardinals.
No.
Maybe. No? Okay. Matt Barkley, Bills. We saw him. No. I'm going to say no. Chase Daniel, Bears. Probably not. Drew Stanton, Browns. A.J. McCarron, Texans. Chad Henne, Chiefs. Brian Hoyer, Patriots. Way too old.
This is just save your breath, man.
Trevor Simeon, the Jets. Tom Savage, the Lions. Matt Schaub, Robert Griffin III, Falcons, Ravens. And now here we get to, I bet you Rams got the best one in Blake Bortles.
You think Blake Bortles is better than Tannehill?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I think, what about Mike Glennon, the Raiders? He stinks. Blaine Gabbert, he's the worst. Also, just a reminder, people thought that, in fact, people that worked in NFL front offices by the name of Charlie Casserole, or some people call him Casserole or whatever, he thought that Blaine Gabbert should be drafted ahead of Cam Newton. Dumbass. Yeah. He can't even be a backup quarterback for a team that has Jameis Winston as the starter, Will Grier as the Panthers backup, Gardner Minshew for the Jaguars. That might actually be better than people give him credit for. Nate Sudfeld, Joshua Dobbs. I actually like Josh Dobbs better than the other ones. Are just hard to work with. Paxton Lynch, Sean Marion, Jeff Driscoll, Cooper Rush. They're terrible. My point being is if any starter goes down, Cody, in the league, more than likely their whole team goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, listen, that's how it goes, man. You lose your starting quarterback. That's why it's the most important position of football. That's why it's the highest paid position of football. I mean, they are the leader, the commander general of the football team. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're dead on arrival. And situations like Philly was in, I'm willing to bet that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, that a backup quarterback ever wins the Super Bowl like that. I mean, come on. And then And I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but are we going to say
where
Voldemort?
we're leading it to.
I was about to say, are we going to say the name Voldemort on this podcast, or what are we doing, man? Like, I mean, listen, everybody knows.
Say it. We got to say it. Is that people have immediately asked after that showing from the backup quarterbacks. I understand fans asking it. I was a little surprised that the reporters, but they're smart. They know what gets listens and views or whatever. Yeah. But they were asking Eric Reed. Wish we had Ed Reed on the team, even as old as. What about Colin Kaepernick?
So listen, I want to. I mean, do you have something you want to say first?
No, I talk so much. You talk first. I do. I'll always talk. But
listen, I just want everyone to understand. I don't feel as strongly about the whole situation as I know others do. So
that's a good point. Great point.
So for me, this comes down to just football. I understand that what Colin Kaepernick did to some people, it's a non-starter, and I understand that. And I'm not here to talk about it. What I am going to say is, from a football perspective, I'm looking at it like this. Do you want to spend extra money that could be used on other positions if what you just said is true? If no other team has a quarterback that is prepared to go in and win a Super Bowl behind their starter, if that guy doesn't exist on any roster in the NFL, then why is it such a pressing thing for us to have to do? It's an entirely different question if Cam Newton goes down. Like, if he is 100% injured and Kyle Allen is shitting the bed, I don't know, man. It depends on what kind of season we have. I don't know what kind of football shape he's in. I don't know if he's ready to play. A lot of people think that he doesn't want to play football, that he just wants to kind of play the victim and play this and that. I don't know, man. I don't know the guy. I do know this. I'd be much more comfortable with him as the backup quarterback purely from a player football perspective than either of the two dweebs that we have on our team right now. And
three
again,
dweebs.
Three of them. So, from a football perspective.
Tweedledee, Dumb, and Dumber.
From a football perspective, I'd love to have him, but I don't know how much money you would pay him, and I don't know if that's even worth it.
All right, my thoughts. I think when your point is that the subject of Colin Kaepernick and what he means to American culture at this moment sadly cannot mean as much to people who are white than are of minorities. And it's not that, but and don't take that offense to this, folks. What I mean by that is that you know that if you're a white person, you can't fully understand what it means to be black. You can do thought exercises, you can do all these things, but at the same time, there is some sort of experiential knowledge there. So what I would say is, just because I'm saying it doesn't mean as much to white people doesn't mean that it should mean less, period. What I'm just saying is that obviously there's a social component to this.
Yeah.
That exists, and we're actually trying to honor that by saying that, or at least I am. Now, like you said, I think it comes to money. And one of the things that I've always heard about Cap was that he was not interested, because he came with the social issue part, taking a pay cut. Yeah. Right? Is that's the whole freaking point, folks. Is that I should not be paid less because you do not like my political positions. And I actually think that's a great point. I don't think we have the funds to allocate to what he probably feel he deserves. And I don't want to also insult somebody by giving them like the minimum just to get them in the league and saying, well, we're the team that does that because look at Eric Reed. But there are some other concerns, Cody, is that ultimately he and the Bat Daddy says this is my problem with Cap is the unknown. we haven't seen him in forever. When we did see him, he was battling with injury and struggling and not doing well. So I don't think it would be a lock if you brought him in, right? So say all of this goes the way what we're planning, or what we're doomsday planning for, and things do go bad. Say we did have Cap on the team. Would you expect him to come in and be the Kaepernick of 2012 in the NFC Championship game? No.
The internet might desperately want to believe that. But
right.
No, you don't,
exactly.
You don't just take 2 or 3 years, however long it's been, off of football and then come back and then start and win football games in the NFL. Yeah, man. I mean,
also, you weren't Peyton Manning or Randall Cunningham or Warren Moon, just so I don't use only white quarterback references. Like, you weren't that guy to start with. We never saw you. Not that you couldn't have been that. And that's what the Bat Daddy is saying. I'm not saying he can't be good or even great. We just haven't seen it in a long time. And I don't know how much you could give to that. So I don't think it would really happen.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. And then, it just goes back to what you said. If no other team has a legitimate go all the way back up in the NFL, I mean, listen, we're going to see in Jacksonville this year. Can Nick Foles actually lead a team?
No, he's not. He's not. I promise you he won't.
So, right. So, I mean, listen, and okay, this is my honest opinion. If he was willing to come here for a reasonable contract, then yeah, man, let him compete for the spot. I'm 100% down for it. Let him show that he still has the ability and the potential to do it. Like I said, this is not a issue that's near and dear to my heart. So, I mean, if he's going to help us win a football game or two, then yeah, maybe. But listen, I mean, I'm a Cam Newton lover. I'm the number one Cam Newton defender. You and I will go to great lengths to defend Cam Newton. I don't know if how would you even feel in the scenario where your backup won the Super Bowl? Like if the Panthers won the Super Bowl with Cam Newton on the roster and he wasn't playing, dude, my fucking heart would be broken. And that's just real talk, man. So
wait a minute. Last week you came out and said, fuck that, when we were talking about Cam Newton, another MVP, but we didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I get that, but you're right. Lynn pointed this out. I've always said this. Colin Kaepernick is my modern Michael Vick. All right. I didn't like Colin Kaepernick to start. And it was because he came here in that playoff game and mocked Cam in that celebration where he did the button-up Superman dance. And I was like, boy, you poking fun. You're trying to go after my Cam. Do not get after my Cam. I'm Mama Bear when it comes to Cam. So I didn't like him for that. It wasn't the political protest part that was problematic for me. So now that I like him more now than I did before. Mike Vick was the same way. I hated him when he was with the Falcons, and then everybody turned on him because of the dogfighting mess. But when he went to the Eagles, I started to feel bad for him. I started pulling for the guy, feeling bad that he went to prison and stuff, and people weren't forgiving him. Yeah. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think if it did happen, it would change the trajectory of the Panthers tremendously. And I'm with you, Cody. There is really nothing worse. The most bittersweet moment in the world would be Cam Newton being on the roster, but not being the guy that was the the Super Bowl MVP.
Imagine Taylor Heineke winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, no. What would you do? What would you? I mean, like, really, you would kind of look like. I mean, it would just be in a state of shock.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most bittersweet.
Oh, so silly! It's a silly idea. We're not talking about it anymore.
No, let's move on to some cat calls.
Okay, yeah, let's jump into the cat calls. Hey, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Thank you all for everyone in the chat room, your donations tonight, most importantly, your conversation. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. There's 42 people watching right now, only 16 thumbs up. Come on, guys. Guilt trip, guilt trip, guilt trip. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. On top of that that little share icon, you could even share it on Twitter right now. That would be cool. Or Facebook, or wherever you hang out. Or you tell your grandma about it. You tell your nephew about it. Tell them about the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. Let's see what we got tonight. Cody, because don't forget, we got to do Gerald McCoy after the Cat Calls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, C3 is Nova Black.
Nova Black.
I was telling about the game, the preseason game in Buffalo. I went up there, I watched the game. I was kind of underwhelmed with the quarterback play, but the running back play, I really enjoyed that. Jordan Scarlett, man, let me tell you, I like that dude. I like the way he plays. I like his hands. I like the way he comes out of the backfield and catch. I like the way he runs between the tackles, outside the tackles. I think he's just got to get more confident, get more playing time. I think I might like him a little bit better than Holyfield. He seems a little bit more speedy and agile than Holyfield, but Holyfield seems to pack a little more punch than him. Reggie Bonifant, I kind of like him. He played pretty good, really good, actually. Kids seem to be able to find his way north, but, between a bunch of guys, every single time we got the ball in his hands. But I don't think he's going to make the team. Anyway, overall, it's a preseason, like Gerald McCoy said, it's glorified practice, but it matters. And I'm looking forward to our starters playing New England because you guys know that Cam Newton and Tom Brady are both very competitive, so they're going to come out serious business even though it's the preseason. Everybody wants to beat the Patriots. The Patriots, I don't think they ever beat us in the preseason. So, Tom Brady might want to, say, I finally got that one up on Cam Newton. Hell, I don't even think they ever beat us in the regular season either. But anyway, you guys keep pounding. What are y'all thoughts on that about the next preseason game when the starters play against New England? Y'all think it's going to be a good game? You think they're going to actually scheme for this game? What are your thoughts on it? Y'all have a great day, great night. Keep pounding. Hopefully I'm up to see the daggone show.
Get him, Cody.
Nova Black. Listen, we all love Nova Black.
He's the best. And
he always hits the nail on the head, too, man. He sees a lot of the things in Jordan Scarlett that I do. I mean, I really do think that, and I'm not just talking about Scarlett as like a backup kind of player. I mean, this guy could fill out a 1-2 punch. I mean, Jordan Scarlett really has great vision, maneuverability. I'm loving me some Jordan Scarlett. I hope we get to see more of him. I hope the offensive line helps him out more. But I know one thing. Tom Brady has damn sure never beaten a Cam Newton-led Panthers in the 2 times that they played during the season. And, we need to talk about this, Tony. That's why we do the cat calls, because they kind of dictate the things that we talk about. We're going to play our starters. Cam Newton, all the first team, all the starters, they're going to get some good reps. Luke is playing. Cam is playing. What's your mindset on this? Are you on team, knock some of the rust off, let your first team get out there and play some ball? Or do you even risk it? Do you go into the season opener cold?
I think Cam Newton broke a rib in a preseason game once.
I'm pretty sure that was when he flipped his truck.
But, that was his back. But I think he broke a rib in a preseason game, which why he had to wear the flap jacket or something one year.
Yeah, so
I think this is that if the Panthers are going to play their starters, I'm opposed to it. I think that they shouldn't play him for a single rep, but I also don't think the preseason is very meaningful at all. I do understand going against a different team could really, like you said, give you a game time experience. So I think it should be limited. If I was the coach, what I would do is I'd play Cam Newton for the first quarter of this game. I'd play all the starters for the first quarter. If you like what you saw from it, that's it. Over. It's all over for the preseason at that point. If you didn't like what you saw, then maybe you got to consider, do you play a little bit into the second quarter? Do you play maybe a snap or two in the fourth game? I don't know. I know that Ron Rivera in the past one time didn't like played his starters into the second half of the game 3 one time.
And of course, just yesterday, I had a bunch of clips on my computer, and I cleared all of that shit out. I had clips from last year, from the preseason, during the season. I got rid of so much shit. But do you remember, it was last year, Cam Newton was going for a first down, did a somersault, and landed on his neck, like during the preseason game. And yeah, of course, it's Cam Newton, so he jumps up and hauls ass to the sideline. But man, dude, it's about enough to make you clench up.
Very interesting comment by Jake Delhomme, Cody. Preseason QBs should wear a red jersey. I kind of like that in some ways. I think it's a kind of an unfair thing to ask of a defensive line to go 100% and then not be able to really go 100% when it counts. But then, like what Cody's also saying is, damn, you know who Steve Smith broke his leg or arm, and it was an arm or a leg in a preseason game. Why? He was hurdling a guy trying to get an extra yard on the sideline. The problem sometimes with these players is not the other team, it's them. Flip over the line onto your neck, you know what I'm saying? They can't, and I understand why. You can't drive scared in NASCAR.
No.
You know, like you can't be a defensive NASCAR driver. And it's hard for guys who are always the guy. Like they don't know how, the reason they're in the NFL is because they're 100% all the time. So I don't know if it's realistic. I think this one quarter I'm okay with. I want to see Cam. You know what? If Cam Newton is throwing dimes on the first series, bro, and he marches this team from the 25 to a touchdown or even to a field goal, pull him. I'm okay.
Yeah, even if it doesn't end in a touchdown, even if they have a good drive and it ends in a field goal, you know, or a close, a fourth down or whatever. Yeah, man, listen, I'm good. Listen, another thing that I didn't mention is that when Kyle Allen, he was missing Curtis Samuel down the field, and boy, was I heated, man, because Curtis was like sliding to try and make an attempt to catch the ball. I'm like, dog, we are not going to hurt Curtis Samuel for these.
That shit was so far behind him.
Man, I was not here for it. I'm saying get everybody like a solid drive. They normally go for more than just a drive in the third game.
Like I suppose they went the full first half, and Ron didn't like it one year and put him in the third quarter. I was like, what the hell is going on? You're making them play an extra game at that point. Like, nah, man, we ain't here for that. Teams are trying out different things on offense and defense. I mean, that's why even if you get destroyed in a preseason football game, you really shouldn't care too much. I mean, it's bad, yeah. You lose, it's bad. But none of these games count. And the coaches game plan for games that don't count. They're just testing shit. So that Kyle Allen throw to Curtis Samuel should be exciting for us. You're like, what? Curtis Samuel's wide the hell open. Dustin Muggs is you can see there was no chance for where it was. Cam could hit that. Cam can hit that. Two, I'm not upset or even often weird about it because I never thought Kyle Allen was any good. And also, it just shows how strong Cam Newton is. Cam Newton threw that bullet on his knees. And that guy had it, saw it, did try to throw it quick. So he didn't get like, he wasn't just staring it down. He made the right read. He did all that. He just didn't have what it took, it seemed, to get it there. So we've always said it's Cam Newton or bust. And I think that's why that question you asked me about us potentially winning the Super Bowl and Cam, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, dude, that's like,
it's like, guys, like, what would you feel like if your family died in a car crash, but you lived?
Yeah, what if you won the lottery but your house burned down?
God, this is like, what in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I do have the money to replace it, but fuck, I had a lot of stuff.
I know, my family photos. All right, the number's 252-228-5098.
QB podcast is Ryan from Tucson, Arizona. And man, I gotta say that was pretty brutal. And I did see Eric Washington calling plays from the sideline. Okay. I hope that's just preseason and not the regular season, because we will absolutely get destroyed if he's defensive coordinator. I'm sorry. He was nowhere near as good as Sean McDermott was. Even when Sean McDermott started off his first couple of years, he just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing when he's calling defensive plays. He doesn't look angry, Tony. He just looks confused, right? Joey Slye is probably the buffest man on the team besides Cam Newton, and I hope to God that we keep the guy. He got a leg, bro. I mean, he reminds me of like Sebastian Janikowski. Like, he can just play for us for the next 20 years. Yeah, I hope we keep him, but probably not going to. This is Panther Nation, right? I like Jordan Scarlett. So a little bit of flashiness. I hope he kind of makes the team just because he looks bigger, fresher, and better than the guys we have backing up Christian McCaffrey. And as far as Will Greer,
that's the consensus at this point.
About Will Greer, he just looks like he's not even remotely ready to be Cam Newton's backup. I do think we need to go on free agency and kind of look for just some type of veteran who understands the NFL. I'm not ready for Kyle Allen or Heineke or any of those guys to back for Cam Newton. We just need kind of a solid veteran, I think. There's somebody out there. I think Will Greer maybe will be the equivalent to what Matt Moore was for us back in when he was starting games for us. Just a good 2-3 game stretch type of guy. That's probably what Will Greer is going to be. And I'm not too worried about the offensive defensive line. I mean, we know these guys. We know KK. We know Trey Turner. We know Gerald McCoy. We know these guys are going to be just fine. I'm not worried about them at all. I just hear a lot of people freaking out about a preseason game that looked ugly. But anyways, we're cool. Keep going. Love the show. Talk to you guys soon. Hey.
Great call. Cody, things that stick out to me for that call right here. We talked about this earlier with the linebackers and the defense, is that it's hard to see what this defense can be and what it truly is without having Luke and Shaq out there, right? I mean, it's going to be night and day. And then you throw in those, we don't feel weird about those starters. I kind of at this point disagreeing with the go get a veteran, this and that. I think it comes down to Cam Newton, Will Greer on the roster, and then you stash maybe the other two. I don't know if the other guys are practice squad eligible, but who would you rather have, Heineke or Kyle Allen? Ashlyn Rizzo in the YouTube chat says, don't forget, Heineke came alive in the preseason weeks 3 and 4, changed the QB lineup picture last year. Not expecting him to, but the chase isn't over. Not that it matters. No good too. Hey, look, that's a fantastic comment. And we should point out that Heineke had a damn good game when he came in and started for the team until he got his arm broken.
Yeah, behind the terrible offensive line. I mean, listen, even the throw that Kyle Allen missed to Curtis Samuel, I mean, the dude can make that throw. He has arm talent. Kyle Allen has talent, but there's a reason why he bounced around from school to school and then ultimately went undrafted. And then Taylor Heineke, that's another one. He did play more consistent, but, keeping things fair, it was against the 3rd and 4th team defense. But, yeah, to what you're saying, I agree that we're not going to know what our defense is unless we have our 2 primary linebackers, because even if we're getting quick penetration, I mean, they're just going to kill us with those dink and dunk middle of the field passes that exploit our defense, and it's going to be enough to move the chains. So, we really don't know what our defense is yet. I've never been this hopeful about the Panthers' defensive lineup. I think our front is nasty. I think we have talent. We generally have above average talent at every position on the football field. Free safety, strong safety, both corner positions, the defensive line, linebackers. I mean, other than JV and Elliott potentially starting at nickel, dude, we have talent everywhere on this football team. So, we're only as good as our linebackers. And it's funny that Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly are the two most popular, most important players on our football team, because we're in a scenario where if either of them go down, dude, that's tough sledding, man. Tough sledding.
Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, great comment. I think Greer's problem is that he started his playoff beard way too early. Beards can be a source of strength if grown properly.
Yeah.
I think that Greg has a great beard from what I could tell from his profile pic. I do want to plug this. Is my man Greg. He's a great dude. He'll email you right when you need it, invite you to a fantasy football league or something like that. He's got a podcast, guy. It's called the Super Civil Servants Podcast. It's on Stitcher. It's on Spotify. I am not nerdy in the same. I am super nerdy, actually. I'm a historian, and I love to read about the past. But I'm not the same nerd you guys are, Cody. The whole superhero, all of this stuff and this and that. Like, I like it. I feel like I've gotten superhero fatigue at some times. But a couple of things I love about this is, number one is Greg loves Batman. I'm a Batman guy first. That's always been my go-to. Greg's show is really cool, guys, and they do a lot of talk about movies that are iconic. And what grabbed my attention right away was when my man was talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Now if that counts in the superhero conversation, count me in. Count me in. I heard they're announcing this. They're going to be doing an anime version of He-Man. Count me in on that, Cody.
Hell yeah.
I might be a superhero nerd after watching The Boys.
Tony, even if you're not a superhero nerd, you're a nerd, dude. We do a podcast every Tuesday night, and you're wearing a jersey with another man's name on it. Okay?
And I'm over 30.
Listen, there is no difference between wearing your face makeup.
I didn't say it was cool. I just said I wasn't a superhero nerd.
No, listen. All I'm saying is that nerd is a good thing. If you're a nerd, that just means you love the shit that you're into. We're football nerds. Me and Greg are also comic book nerds and anime nerds. So, man, listen, I love all nerd content, and Greg does have a great podcast. I'll be joining him on his at some point, but man, for sure. Shout out to the man.
Own the nerd, Tony. Nerd is the new cool. That's what my kid told me.
It's true. It's 100% true, man.
I am a nerd. I'm not as cool as you guys in the nerd stuff. That's what I'm really trying to say. All right, next call right here.
Hey, this is Ryan from 17. The one thing I forgot to mention was Brian Burns. I know he didn't get no sack, but just watching him get off that ball,
he's fast.
He's going to intercept the handoff.
So fast.
Yeah, it's like he's going to be crazy good for Carolina. I say that he's going to be starting probably mid-season, easily.
If he blows up,
I think he's going to probably finish the league with 6 to 8 sacks. So I'm excited about that.
He's right. If if Brian Burns turns out, I'm kind of thinking of the Panthers defense being awesome. And in my awesomeness perspective, I haven't even really thought of Brian Burns being a tremendous force in that. I'm not saying he won't be. I just didn't think he had to be for us still to be fantastic. But if he's fantastic, it's a wrap, brother, on defense if we can stay healthy in other places. I like that a lot, man. He's great. He's a superhero right away already. Next call.
Hey, guys. What's up, C3? This is Matthew Rankin calling you for the first time ever from New York City.
Welcome to the show, brother.
I work as a bartender just about every night of the week, so I never get to watch the show live, but I listen every week to the podcast and love what you guys do.
Thank you.
I sometimes pelt you guys with Panthers questions or comments as ranking to the beat on Twitter. And Cody, during the second preseason game, I mentioned that I had to watch the game cast because we don't get the games up here, so I can't watch those live either. And by halftime, I was wondering if you would feel comfortable saying that the QB2 is not on the present roster. And at that point in time, you were not prepared to say that. After watching 3, almost 4 quarters of horrendous backup quarterback play, do you still feel the same way? Do you think that one of these guys can step up and produce if Cam goes out? Or do you feel like it's time to bring in some veteran backup help?
That's the real question right there, Cody. At the end.
Question is, again, perhaps related to the fact that I am out of market and don't get all of the news. We keep seeing...
Here, I'm going to pause it there. We're going to do this. I'm pausing it there. Cody, okay. That's the hard-hitting question right there. Is not what do we think it should be Kaepernick or this and that and this and that. But really, is it time to go and seek something outside the 2 guys there? Or do we just gamble on Cam?
See, here's the thing, man. I do think that QB2 is on our roster, even though I don't think that means that they're fully ready to actually be a quarterback 2. If that makes sense. I don't think that we're going to go out and sign someone. I just don't see us going out and pursuing Colin Kaepernick, and unless David Tepper approves after the Eric Reed signing that he's just okay with it and he decides he wants to do it. But that is literally the only scenario in which I see Carolina choosing to spend money that they really don't have on a backup quarterback. I just think they're going to kind of, go out with who they have on the roster with Kyle Allen and Will Grier. And I think Kyle Allen is probably going to be the number 2. And Will Grier, they just drafted him, so they're not going to trade him after year 1 or cut him. It just won't happen. So as much as I'm not a fan of it, yeah, quarterback 2 is on our roster. And no, I do not think whoever that is, I don't think they're prepared for the job.
If he's not on the roster, then it is Colin Kaepernick or. Are you ready? Because listen to this. Here are all the backup quarterbacks that all the ones that they're gone, right? It's either Colin Kaepernick, Sam Bradford, which no to Sam Bradford, anything. Don't let him anywhere. He will suck all your money dry like a drunken ex-wife. He will take all your money and leave you crying in the end. I'm telling you no. So here, it's either Sam Bradford, Colin Kaepernick, Brock Osweiler, or Landry Jones, because Mark Sanchez retired. I can't believe he must be the youngest 32-year-old ever. I felt like Mark Sanchez has been in my life for like 2 decades. Landry
been around for a while.
Landry Jones. No, I don't even know if there really is a veteran option. We keep saying that. It's Colin Kaepernick or nobody.
Yeah, I mean, Kaepernick. Everyone. Listen,
who is it?
If we really wanted to get a legitimate backup quarterback, the time to do that was free agency this past season. That time has come and gone. Unless it's Kaepernick, it's no one else. And that's just how it is, man. We're Cam Newton or bust. That's the way it's been since Cam Newton was drafted. That's the way it is now.
All right, here is part 2 of this, or is this back end of the call?
All these highlights of Cam airing it out to Curtis Samuel, and that's great. And the news media is picking up on how good a camp Samuel is having. And again, that's great, and we're all expecting fantastic things from Samuel. My question is, where the heck is DJ Moore? DJ Moore never shows up in highlights. They never talk about him except to say, oh, yeah, he's doing great. Next question. There is no detail given to DJ Moore, and it's
talk about this.
making me wonder just what the heck is going on with him. He hasn't hurt himself that I've heard. I'm wondering if you guys being more local and perhaps getting more news can help an out-of-towner out. What's going on with him? Do we think everything's going okay there? Okay, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for all the continued good work, and keep pounding.
The Bat Daddy, he's funny. He said Sam Bradford is the stripper of QBs. You think it's great or the real deal, but it's all about the money. Once he has it, he disappoints you. That's the truth. Why is it that every guy wants to believe that a stripper really likes them? That's like the most foolish. It's a psychological thing. All right. To the question about DJ Moore. You take it, Cody.
So listen, I've kind of already alluded to this. I don't think that DJ Moore is a very good route runner. I think that he runs very lazy routes. I don't want to say this. I don't have any built-up hatred or animosity towards any player on the football team. DJ Moore is not a very polished route runner. So, Matthew, thank you for listening and for your call. Imagine you're the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, and you have the option to throw the football to DJ Moore, who might have Dante Jackson in his back pocket waiting to make a play on the football, or you have Curtis Samuel with about 5 or 6 foot of separation streaking down the football field. Who are you going to throw the football to? You're going to throw the football to Curtis Samuel. And that's kind of what I've been saying, and we've showed some clips before. DJ Moore has to get better in those cuts. He has to start stopping on the dime and really creating separation with the cornerbacks. And a lot of people, I know Rich Kingston, him and I were talking on Twitter about, once you've been playing football for so long, why doesn't DJ Moore know how to do that? What are the chances of him at this point in his career learning how to become a nuanced route runner? A lot of people don't know if it's going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. So to answer your question, that's why DJ Moore, in my opinion, hasn't had the highlight reel plays and catches that you've seen from Curtis Samuel. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have value and that we're not going to be able to use him effectively. But Curtis Samuel is just better at everything that you want in a wide receiver.
Good Lord, you are some Curtis Samuel. You gush over some Curtis Samuel.
And I'm not wrong.
Wait, Cody said he could not confirm that he was wearing pants. And he ain't if he's talking about Curtis Samuel.
I'm touching the table right now, boy.
All right. Look, thank you for the call. Fantastic call. Thank you for being a supporter of the podcast. I am telling you both to hold your horses. Second, I'm telling you the answers are in the tidbits that our coaching staff has told us. And third, those tidbits are the only thing the beat writers know other than the plays we see on Twitter. So we see everything pretty much. The beat writers do not hold anything back. And what we have seen is just Curtis Samuel has had an exceptional camp. Norv Turner has said his route running has been notably improved. So what you got is a guy who's hitting the third year, the game's slowing down to him. He's starting to get the technique and this and that. I think the real story that you haven't heard about DJ Moore is less about DJ Moore and more about how great Curtis Samuel's camp has been. Like you said, hey, you got to go to Curtis Samuel for burning everybody. He's toasting everybody. He's toasting Dante Jackson. He's toasting everybody. Now, here is the comment that Norv Turner made about DJ Moore. He said, DJ's greatest value is what he does after the ball's in his hands. He said something to that effect. And what that is indicating, much to what you were saying, Cody, is that some of those more refined aspects might not be the super strength of his game at this point. Not that they can't be, not that they won't be, but right now, really, the super strength of his game is his playmaking ability, his athleticism.
Yeah.
So I think I I think that they saw what DJ Moore could be in a couple years and that he was good enough right now. I think that if we wanted something different, we would have drafted Calvin Ridley, who is his now is probably the best he's really going to be.
Yeah, and he was a little bit older, and he went to a division rival. He went to an Alabama.
We had our choice. We had our pick of the litter.
Yeah,
and we picked DJ.
They chose DJ Moore. And listen, I'll say something that might not be popular, but in my mind, DJ Moore is the perfect slot receiver because the whole role in that offense or from that position is you can use your offense to scheme them open. If there's tight coverage down the sidelines, then you might have these little avenues where you're going to be able to get him the ball, and that yards after the catch ability is really going to come into play. I mean, put DJ Moore on a linebacker. I mean, dude, that's a favorable matchup. So, yeah, the yards after the catch is very impressive with him. I just think that your number one wide receiver is the better route runner, the best route runner on the football team, because when you know your ins and outs of what you're doing, running your routes, you're going to create separation. And
I'll be interested.
Samuel has that in spades.
And again, I think this is what Samuel's doing great, not necessarily what DJ Moore isn't. I think we'll be able to see a little bit more as we go into the third preseason game. But I just don't remember DJ Moore being present in the preseason games at all. But that's not surprising because none of the starters really have been present, even if they've been playing. Curtis Samuel was the only one, and the only thing we saw of him was a underthrown ball, essentially.
Yeah, they both
he did have one other play, I think, that he could have taken to the house or something like that. Yeah, but we don't know. It's an unknown, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like I said, I'm on Team Carolina Panthers. Okay, DJ Moore is a Carolina Panthers, so of course I want the best for him. But in my analysis, I have to be honest and just tell you what I see. And he has to be better in that area if he's going to be the type of receiver that you draft in the first round. And that's a number one wide receiver, your number one option on the field. And I don't know if he's ever going to be that. But it doesn't mean he's not valuable.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Give him a little time before we make our conclusions. All good conversation. All right. The last we have, that was the end of the call, Cody. We got one other thing to do, and that is other than the ice up picks. You pointed out this. Here is a clip from Gerald McCoy. What's this clip from? Tell me what we're about to listen to, Cody.
So Gerald McCoy went on the Rich Eisen show. Which, by the way, I love Rich Eisen. I think
he's fantastic.
One of the best interviewers in all of sports media and just interviewers, period.
He's like Dan Patrick.
Yeah, him and Dan Patrick. And they're good friends. Their shows are like back-to-back or something. But Gerald McCoy went on Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen show, and he was asked about Cam Newton. And, man, dude, I love Gerald McCoy so much already. And the answer that he gave about Cam Newton, it's like, why hasn't someone put it like that sooner? There have been some incredible teammates to say some great things about Cam. I know Greg Olsen does too. But I want you to listen to Gerald McCoy and how he answers this question about Cam Newton. And I think it speaks to who we know Cam Newton to be. So go ahead and play that up, Tony.
All right, but right before we get into the clip, Lynn did remind me that it's time for us to do the promo for the Keep Pounding T-shirt. This is look at the screen right now. I got it pulled up. We've done our T-shirt we do a yearly T-shirt that we really just make for the Fantasy Football League and a few extras if some people want to buy them. This year is a commemorative T-shirt. We've had this design for months and months on end. Lynn in the chat room, Lynn Leonhardt, is the designer of this. I told her that we wanted to do something with the keep and the pounding. It's an idea I've had going back to 2012 or 2013. We've been doing this podcast, and we've had so many people. So many people have that have been a part of our show have been from England, from Jay Cryer to Rich Kingston, more people in the background. I'm not remembering their names at the point. So it's always been important to me. That's why I've always thought about this. The shirt this year is a Keep Poundin' t-shirt. On the front is Keep Poundin', but instead of it pounding with a P, it is designed with the English pound sign. If you zoom in on that, there in the middle, it says Panther Invasion 2019. Our play on the British invasion of the 60s, we're bringing the Panther invasion of 2019. On the back of this t-shirt is a Black Panther wearing that British soldierly top hat that they got to wear while guarding Westminster. This t-shirt right now, everybody who has purchased a premium membership in the C3 Fantasy Football League is going to get one of these. But you can go and order one right now. I have it. There's a discount on the website right now. If you go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com, you click the shop tab and you click t-shirts, this will come up. It is on sale until they're printed. And that is, I could probably call my t-shirt guy and say, add 4 more to the list, 5 more to the list. But I'm not forking out money for this because I've got a whole closet full of t-shirts right behind me. So here's the thing is that there's going to be a few extras. If you guys want one, you can get 10%, 20% off right now, something like that. Go ahead and get one. Look, these are the best quality t-shirt, the next level, the ring spun cotton. I have learned you don't ever try to save $1 on a t-shirt. It's just better to get the high end. They don't shrink. We've always done that. It's 3 color t-shirts, expensive print. We're not making any money. Well, yeah, we're not making any money on this. It's just if you want one, it's a one-time printing only that's coming up. So go ahead to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Look at this beautiful T-shirt. Keep pounding. Celebrate the 2019 trip to London with your commemorative T-shirt and help support the C3 Panthers podcast. All right, Cody, what do you think about the shirt real quick before we
I love it, man. What a golden opportunity to make a Keep Pounding shirt with the pound sign, man.
And the British colors, the American colors together. You can't say it's British. You can't. I mean, it is British looking at it, but it's also American.
I think it's just a testament to how incredibly talented the lovely Miss Lynn Leonhardt is. She is wonderful. We love her, and she is a light to the C3 Panther Nation. So shout out to Lynn. You know we love you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get into this call right now, or not this call, this clip from Gerald McCoy on the Rich Eisen Show.
What did you learn? What have you learned about Cam in the few months that you've been with this organization that you did not know about Cam Newton, Gerald McCoy? What did you learn about him so far?
That I didn't know?
Yeah.
There's some things I can't say. That are all positive things, but it's a very private locker room.
Okay, but it's positive.
I'm going to keep that. Yeah, it's all positive. Here's what I say about him.
Okay.
Here's what I have learned, which I already knew, but I'll say it for the public.
Go for it.
There's a big misconception about who he is and how he is. He loves to have a great time, but he's such a caring guy, and he cares about his teammates, always looking out for his teammates, cares about his teammates, and cares about people. I had a conversation with him, and he just says, he it's hard for him to sit back and see people go without or see people struggle. And I think a lot of people don't know that about him, how big his heart is. And he's just such a great human. Everybody looks at all the antics, but that's just him. He loves to have a good time, and he's unapologetically Cam. And that's just who he is, and he's going to be that way, and I'm excited to be on his team. Got tired of chasing him.
Got tired of chasing him.
Got tired of chasing him. And listen, man, the reason I had Tony isolate this this clip is because you hear stories about Cam Newton just going out in Charlotte on a random night during the season, giving food to homeless people. I mean, Cam Newton really does have a huge heart. He's a big kid for a reason, man. He has a big heart. The guy cares. He's the type of guy that you want on your team, man. He's going to put himself in scenarios that other quarterbacks just will not do on the football field and off the football field. He's been nothing but exemplary, man. Nothing but exemplary. He's been nothing but the type of player that has represented our football organization with class and tact. Regardless of these little Jordan Rodriguez things here and there, or these one-off kind of things, Cam Newton has been an exemplary Panther. And Gerald McCoy hasn't even played his first game with the Carolina Panthers. He's only been on the team such a short amount of time, and it's already apparent to Gerald McCoy. I mean, listen, you can already tell Gerald McCoy loves being a Panther way more than he ever loved being a Tampa Bay Panther.
Yeah, right away.
Right away.
And he was great. He was so great for that community and that team in a way, but he is excited to be here.
And it's the perfect piece of our defensive puzzle that we're putting together, man. But the man knows who Cam Newton is, and I feel like it was refreshing to hear someone else put it and say it in the way that you and I have said many times on this podcast, Tony, that for all the drama that surrounds Cam Newton, most of it is meaningless, and the dude has been nothing but a class act the entire time that he's been here. Super Bowl interviews be damned. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't even give a crap about that. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. The only thing that's bad about Cam Newton is that he has yet to come on the C3 Panthers podcast. Like, that's the only thing. Other than that, it's not even bad. It's just like, please, Cam, we love you. Please.
Oh, one day, man. Oh, listen, the sky is the limit.
When it comes to
Cam Newton one day, just put it out there.
When it comes to McCoy, a couple of things that are interesting to me are, one is he's very visible. He's in the media a lot. Now, I think that shows he's open to being in the media. He's going to be a great commentator if he wants to be involved in that one day. He's very well spoken. He's very thoughtful. He's very reasonable, and he's got the chops on the football field to back it up. Unlike a lot of commentators who are a lot of those different things, but they did never impress us, with their play enough to really garner or just undaunted admiration. McCoy, for me, I wonder this, though, is he being so public, which I think this is true to himself, is he wanting to be a Panther more than a year? And if he balls out like we think he could for one more season, do the Panthers make him a Panther more than 1 year? All interesting and tough questions to follow. I want those good problems to have. That's what I want. At the end of this season, I want those good problems. Do we continue to sign Shaq because he led the league and led the team in tackles? Do we extend McCoy beyond this year to a 3-year deal because he was a dominant force? And he's getting up there in age too. So it's not like you really going to have some real questions to answer. I think we're in a good spot when it comes to that. So you guys are listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. We've kind of exhausted the subject matter for a little bit. We've exhausted our time opportunity here. We have one last segment. It's the Ice Up segment where we tell someone to ice up, to toughen up, to get it together. But before we do that, reminder, please subscribe to the show. If you're listening on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you listen, Spotify, just leave a rating. Tell them you enjoy the show. We're here every week, every Tuesday or once a week. 6 years straight, going into our full 7 years after this one. We're going to be just crushing it. Guys, your support is what makes us want to do this and along with our nerdiness. Now, Cody, let's get into these Ice Up picks. We don't got any more football to talk about. Let's see what we got to say here. Can you start us off tonight?
I certainly can. And tonight, it's funny that you just mentioned nerdy because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some more nerdy shit. So for those of you who haven't seen the Avengers, please wake up from under the rock that you've been living under. They're one of the most popular film series of all times. But you may or may not know that Spider-Man is now a part of the Avengers, as he should be, as he was in the comics. And a deal was struck between Disney and Sony. Sony owns the Spider-Man property, and Disney has been essentially leasing him for the Avengers movies. I mean, that's really essentially what it is. He's still property of Sony. Well, it was reported today that the talks of extending their deal and getting Spider-Man and Peter Parker to continue to be in the Marvel movies is in dire straits. It's in jeopardy of not happening. So I am icing up Sony Studios because they had all the opportunities in the world to make a good Spider-Man film, and they almost always fucked it up every single time. Listen, part of the appeal of Peter Parker is that he's a nerd. He's a young guy that has this power. It's him against the world. And Sony Entertainment, they would just do the same tired retreads. And the guy they hired was like a hot guy. Peter Parker is not supposed to be an attractive dude. He is a nerd. That's the word for tonight. Nerd.
Nerds are not ugly.
Not ugly, but they're not confident. You're not supposed to want to make out with Peter Parker, okay? His comedy and his wit and everything about him is supposed to endear you to him. It's not his looks. So I'm gonna hit my tag team here. My tag team partner Greg says guest ice up Sony Studios, a dispute over money causing one of the best characters from the MCU to leave, Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm not going to see any Spider-Man movie produced by Sony. I will not do it. I will not support it. He belongs in the Avengers. He belongs to Tom Holland. The actor is incredible. And that's my thing, man. So to Sony Studios, ice up. Let Marvel have it. You don't know what to do with it. F off and ice up. That's my ice.
Ice up. Okay, my ice up pick is going to be a weird one in this case. It's going to go to Torrey Smith here. All right. And you're like, wait a minute. Are you upset? Torrey Smith put out this.
We're not online anymore, by the way. We're YouTube crashed and Shindig says the recording is off.
What? Ugh. All right. Damn it. Well, anyway, my ice up pick goes to Torrey Smith because of this thing, and it didn't give me the extend record. That's what I'm supposed to have an extend recording button.
I sent you a little notification.
Yeah, I hit it. Yes. All right. Anyway, it goes to Torrey Smith, not because of this image right here. You can't see it if you're listening now on the audio version later, but somebody put a sticker on this. It says it's from Big Bird at Big Bird's Brain. He retweets it with a quote. It says, "Would y'all eat this?" Big Bird asked, and it is a Scotch fillet steak. And it has a sticker on it. Somebody went into the grocery store and put a sticker. "My name is Chloe. I wanted to live. Your personal choice killed me. Don't buy it." And the question on the tweet was, "Would you still eat this?" And Torrey Smith queefed it. He quote tweeted it. And he said, "Medium well with some A1. I'm icing up Torrey Smith, not because I disagree with his fact that I would eat this. I would eat it in a heartbeat. Number one, I'm a medium guy, not a medium well. And number two, if it's cooked fantastic, you don't need A1. A1? So Torrey Smith, you get a ice up for steak sauce when you could be eating at a restaurant. He probably eats a $90 steak, and he's the jerk that puts damn steak sauce on it. He goes to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant and gets a steak, and it's like Kobe beef, and he's like, "Do you have any A1?" And Gordon Ramsay is in there flipping tables in the background. So Torrey Smith, ice up. You might get iced up when it comes roster time. It's starting to wonder that a little bit. Where is Torrey Smith's spot in this? Is it guaranteed? I think he will be it. I like Torrey Smith, but boy,
I think so.
A1, ice up.
Ice up.
All right, you're listening to C3 Panthers podcast. You don't know it because you're not watching it, but the YouTube window is crashed, so we are talking to you alone. You can subscribe to the show And you can smash the thumbs up button if you're watching on Facebook, wherever you're at. Leave us a rating and check out our buddy Greg's, the Bat Daddy 52. And that, I think, is his Twitter handle as well. Check out the Civil Servants podcast. It's great. I think he's asked me to be on it for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle part 2 episode. I'm so excited about that. Got a ton to say about that. Great movie.
I love those movies too, man. I grew up with that shit.
The only bad one was the Japanese one.
I like that too, but everything's good. Everything's good when you're a kid, when you're young, dumb, and impressionable. But you can follow me on Twitter at Cody Lax, CODYLAC. Talk to me about anything. I bullshit about a lot of different subjects. Just hit me up.
All right, man. We'll check you out. Something went wrong. We'll figure it out. Have a good night, folks. Good night. Keep pounding.
Peace.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.